Hello and welcome to this episode of Peak Life. Today we're talking with Hampton Roads Transit about an upcoming study that they have going on, and here to tell us all about it is Sherry Dawson. Sherry, thanks for being here.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
So we've got a big old study coming up here. I want to get into what all it entails, but this isn't the first time that Chesapeake has looked at something like this. Tell me a little bit about the history.
It's not the first time, actually, so I'll try to be brief on the history. So in 1999 and 2002 is when the city actually first started looking at high-capacity transit, but at that time, land development patterns wouldn't really support an investment in high-capacity transit. So now, 20 years later, it's a completely different Chesapeake. I have only been here less than a year, but I used to come here to visit my family quite a bit growing up. And it's changed even in the year that I've been here and even from when I was a child. So what better time than now to actually look at high capacity transit that can support the growth that's going on here.
Absolutely. So we're really kind of trying to, HRT is trying to make sure that they are growing alongside the city to be able to continue to serve everyone who uses their services.
Absolutely.
So tell us a little bit about, like, what are you looking at? What are you hoping to get out of this study?
Yeah, so this study, I'll try to break it down because planning can get a little complicated.
Yes, oh, we know.
So basically, HRT and the City of Chesapeake, we've teamed up to take on this study. So we're calling it Connecting Chesapeake. Pretty interesting, and we really want people to say, oh, what are we connecting Chesapeake to? So it's really a community input-driven and data-driven approach to coming up with a universe of high-capacity transit alignments as well as technologies that will connect Chesapeake to the wider Hampton Roads region. So it'll be a two-tiered evaluation process. The first tier will be just taking what the community says, and having this universe of alternatives. And then tier two, we will screen those down to the most viable options. We'll look at what the community has said, but then also the data points like ridership forecasts, construction costs, things like how this will match up with land use patterns that are going to change over time. And ultimately, we'll come up with an alternative or two that we can move on to future phases.
So we've learned so much about the planning process, especially over the past few months, just with everything going on here at the city. So it sounds like you guys are doing this at the perfect time. And I love that explanation that you kind of start off with, like, here's the big dream of what we wish we could have.
Yes.
And then you kind of bring in all the data, all the facts, and you break it down to what can actually happen.
Yes.
Talk to me a little bit about high capacity transit. For those who don't frequent it, I think we all see the buses riding on the roads, but what else could that mean?
Yeah, I think whenever HRT comes out with this study, people just immediately think, oh, we're going to put just another traditional bus out there.
Yes.
But really, with the amount of growth that's happening in Chesapeake, we need to grow with the city. So when we grow with the city, we need to provide more capacity than what our traditional buses can hold. So for this study, we're actually going to be looking at 3 different types of high capacity transit. Express bus, it has fewer stops and it can operate in HOV managed lanes. So that would basically be the introductory to high capacity transit. Then we have bus rapid transit. It can operate in mixed traffic or in its own dedicated guideway. So it's right in the middle of express bus and light rail, which I'll actually talk about in a few moments.
Okay.
So it has some of the qualities of light rail. It has multi-door level boarding. You can do off-board fare payment. So like our tide stations, you pay your fare off the vehicle. So that actually speeds up the time that you're spent commuting. So those are just some of the things that BRT has. And then there's light rail like our tide in Norfolk. So with the Tide, it operates in its exclusive right-of-way. It's rail. It operates on tracks. And yeah, so
lots of options. And it's very cool. I'm very much hearing how technology is changing, this industry in general. And it sounds like it is really time for Chesapeake to take a serious look at the options that are out there, which is what you guys are doing.
yeah.
Now, who is your target for this? There are people who ride the bus. There are people who have barely even seen a bus. Who are you targeting to offer their thoughts for this?
So my immediate response is, who aren't we targeting?
Yeah,
Because
okay.
I know you've seen our public engagement strategy and it's really robust,
Yes.
and that was intentional. So something I really try to emphasize as a planner is we're educators, so we need to maximize our reach. So we can't just reach transit users. We know Chesapeake has employers and that need to get their people to work. There are people that come to Chesapeake to go to doctor's appointments, people that are going to school. So we need to make sure that we're actually reaching everyone. So it's not just going to be residents. We have so many strategies in place, and as the plan continues, we're going to learn more about the city itself, your residents, who's actually coming here, and our strategies are going to change over these 18 months. So we don't have this just in the box sort of like one size fits all strategy. We know it's going to be different how we engage with residents. We're going to do direct engagement. We're going to go to events that are actually already established. And those underserved and usually the traditionally underrepresented populations, for those, we will definitely directly engage with them as well and try to tag team on events that they already have in their communities and work with their community advocates to kind of make them champions of our study as well. We don't want them to be left out.
Yeah. You know, I'm thinking how I want to take this survey. I want to participate because, you know, just because I don't actively use buses in my day-to-day, as we're talking, I do kind of think of like, well, it would be cool to hop on something and, you know, go see a show or go here, go there. So I like this planning process because it really is kind of like, let's dream, you know, where could I go if there was service routes, right?
Right. So that's what we're going to do in our engagement that's coming up. So we have HRT's hosting 3 events the week of October 16th. So we're coming to you to educate you, but also to have a conversation to see where do you want to go? Where would you ride? What places within our study area should we actually serve with this potential service? So if I can, I'd like to talk about those 3 events pretty quickly.
Please, yeah, absolutely, go for it.
So they're actually open house style and one pop-up event. So on Tuesday, October 17th, we'll be at the Hyatt Place in Greenbrier. That'll be an open style sort of public meeting. We'll have display boards and some interactive activities, and you'll have a chance to talk to me and my project team. And on Wednesday, we will have a pop-up event at one of our most utilized transfer centers, Robert Hall. And that'll be from 2 to 4 on the 18th. And then we'll wrap it up with another open house style public meeting at the South Norfolk Memorial Library on Thursday from 4 to 6.
So lots of opportunities the week of the 16th to get involved. But this is a long project. You said 18 months?
18 months.
So we've got time. So we'll do these pop-ups, we'll do these open houses, send people there. But we're also going to send people to your website to make sure that they can stay connected throughout the process.
Yes.
Sherry, did we forget anything? Anything else?
I think we'll be back when we actually have more to share.
Yeah.
We have some community input that we can talk about as well that actually goes with the data that we have too.
That would be great.
Yeah, so really looking forward to continuing the conversation and hope to see you at one of our events.
Thank you, Sherry Dawson with HRT. Thank you so much for
thank you for having
educating
me.
us on this process, and we're excited to push folks to participate.
Yeah, thank you.
That does it for this episode of Peak Life. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you next time.